Eureka! You found us! Welcome to the Check Out California radio show, your key to California hospitality. Hosted by Rad Gantos, principal of Rad Gantos & Associates, a hospitality and commercial real estate design firm, and Craig Sullivan, executive vice president of Park West GC, a hospitality and commercial real estate general contractor. Check Out California is focused on our state's hospitality, travel, and tourism markets, and on the large part they play in California's vibrant and innovative economic diversity and unique quality of life. Now, here are your hosts, Rad Gantos and Craig Sullivan.
Good afternoon and welcome to Check Out California. I am Craig Sullivan.
And I'm Rad Gantos, and I can't believe that this is the Check Out California show because last time we were here, it was a lot more...
Rowdy? Rowdy? I don't know, tequila, beer, good clients and friends all in one room.
Yeah, that was
we did all right. We had some food.
No,
so
this is my shameless attempt to try to get people to actually go listen to our recorded shows.
Well, Alan will later today because one of his people
Wait, hold on.
was here.
Paul,
Paul's got the
that
remains
bottle
of the
had a
tequila
lot
bottle.
more tequila in it when we left.
What happened to all the tequila? This is the coolest shaped bottle I saved. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I put it on camera.
Yeah, well, okay.
Okay, that's good.
This when we
Looks like a
when
trophy.
we left the show, that was a lot more full. But
Yeah.
but no, I mean, I'm trying to get people to basically go check us out on Facebook, and we have every single episode
So,
that we had last year, basically on there. Alan was our first
First
and
guest.
he is again our first in 2018. So hi, Alan.
Hi.
Good to have you back.
yes,
Good to be back.
Please welcome Mr. Alan Reay, the man, the myth, the legend. 21 years ago, he formed Atlas Hospitality
Wow,
Group. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And
The
you know,
market leader.
he has to be here on the first of every year now. From this is like a trend. He was on the first show. Now he's on the first show of this year. He's going to have to be on 2019 and beyond.
I think that's a
The
great
look on
idea.
Alan's face is like, oh God, what did I get
What I
myself into?
get
right?
myself into. So, Alan, Happy New Year. Thank you again for being here. You know, I can't say enough good things about Atlas Hospitality, and I know that you won't because you're very humble about it, but you've got a group of people with you with practically zero turnover that have been with you for 21 years and others that have come to
That's
you
phenomenal.
later during that course, and you guys dominate the market. It's select service, boutique, full service from time to time on a large scale, but certainly the smaller ones.
You got to tell everybody what he does, though.
Alan runs the best hotel brokerage firm in the state of California. It is just amazing what he has accomplished with his crew for 21 years. And you guys all started at another firm. You left when you discovered hospitality. You guys were all apartment guys.
That's correct, yes.
Yeah. And see, I know the history pretty well. We go back a number of years.
And let's give out Atlas's website too for people that are listening that don't know about Alan. Want to find out as well.
Go ahead, Alan.
It's www.atlashospitality.com.
And if you don't get the Atlas Hospitality Group newsletter, call Wilson at Atlas's office, and he'll get you on the mailing list. Don't call Alan, but call Wilson. He'll thank me for that. But, you know, give us a recap, if you would, of last year. How many deals did you guys do? What's the volume that you've seen throughout the state for last year?
Yeah, so 2017 was obviously a very good year to be in the hotel business, both from ownership, financing, and the brokerage side. We had a record year last year. We did over 35 hotel sales in California.
Wow.
So for us, it was a banner year. And sales across the
Congratulations.
board, thank you, sales across the board for all of California were higher than 2016, and 2016 was a phenomenal year. So
Wow.
it really is continuing on strong throughout 2017, and we're really seeing no let-up coming into the new year.
You're not seeing any tightening on the refinance side of the hotels right now, but what about on construction loans? Because we do have a lot of development going on, especially on the select service side, unlike the last cycle where we had more full service. So are we starting to see a little bit of contraction with the
Changes.
lenders on construction loans?
Absolutely not. The opposite.
Love it. Love it.
2017, again, was a record year for hotel rooms open. Just beat out the last peak year, which was 2008.
Okay.
And 2018 is on track to even beat 2017 with almost twice the number of new rooms already under construction.
And how do you explain that, Alan?
I think there's a lot of factors that play into it. One is the availability of financing that Craig mentioned earlier.
Right.
Historically low rates for financing.
Yeah.
Tremendous amount of overseas capital coming into California, especially from China and through the immigration EB-5 program. And that hotels have been seeing record increases in revenue and profitability. So all around, it's a what we would call a perfect storm in terms of incentives for new development.
Paul, you got a question?
Yes, somebody wants to know if the new tax code is going to help or hurt that.
Man, they just cut to
I
the
love
chase,
it.
didn't
Love
they,
it.
right away?
The audience has been building since the first time you were here. We're getting questions on Twitter and email. And Paul, before Alan answers that, would you give out the studio phone number and all the various ways that they can contact us with questions? Today,
You
please?
can watch us live on Facebook Live. OC Talk Radio is putting this out on our feed. You can watch us on YouTube at our OC Talk Radio channel, live or later. We're even trying Periscope today through Twitter. That's where this one came in
Nice.
through Twitter. And if you want to listen live, you can call in and be part of the show at 949-330-7761. 949-330-7761. Operators standing by.
What about the Twitter questions? Where do they send those to, Paul?
Hashtag OC Talk Radio.
There we go. Okay, Alan.
So on the taxes, obviously very early stages, but for anyone in the real estate field and the hotel industry, it looks to be very positive, especially if you have ownership in real estate investment trusts. Corporate tax rate has been slashed down to 25%. Obviously, the impact that we have with not being able to write off your state taxes against your federal income taxes, but for people in the hotel ownership, it's definitely a plus.
Plus, yeah, absolutely.
So, with it being a banner year last year, Alan, is it something that was pretty common across? I know you guys focus on California, but just in general, was it common across the country, or was it by market? Like I want to bring the focus back that California may be its own animal when it comes to the hospitality market, or was this just a common trend across the country?
It was a common trend across the country. Hotel sales were up all over the United States.
And you foresee that as continuing this year?
So far, yes. If the economy continues strong with the tax cuts, all of the signals point to more money back into the economy, record stock prices, people feeling good about house prices, and feeling good about spending money. We're seeing it in the high-end luxury segment of the hotel industry, which usually is a reflection of how good the economy is.
Economy's doing, exactly. Well, let's talk about development for a bit. I sent you an article last week. The City of Los Angeles Council, in its infinite wisdom, and the mayor went along with this, tacked in a linkage fee on development. Now, this is a fee that will now generate at least $3 to $5 per square foot on commercial and hospitality development. It's going to be a fee that has to be paid when you pull your permit for housing and affordable housing, as I read it correctly. What's your feeling with? I mean, all of our costs, whether it's development or day-to-day expenses, always end up going back to the consumer.
And I'm assuming that this is a linkage fee that's on top of other linkage fees that are already in place, like schools and what have you, right?
Yes. But I think
And why do they call it a linkage fee? Isn't it just a tax or another permit fee? Or
So
what?
that they
Let's
don't
tag
use the
along
T
with
word.
I think it's really going to impact other industries, less so the hotels. Residential, I think it's over $10 per square foot, as long as it's over 15,000 square feet. And this is money that the city supposedly is putting back into low-income housing. Whether or not it finds its way there or into other pots at the city is a question that
because historically
remains to be answered.
there's been a question on where those resources go, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Now, in the city of Los Angeles, they offer so many incentives for hotel development that if you take, let's say, a 50,000 square foot building, maybe
Right.
100 rooms in downtown Los Angeles, that would be $250,000 extra fee. But the city is giving back so much in terms of transient occupancy tax rebates.
Right.
In
Fast
fact,
tracking and various other things as
the
well.
one project right next to the convention center that's being approved, I think, is receiving over $130 million incentives from the city. So really the linkage fee
Is minor if
is
it's a
minor in
blip.
relation
Yeah.
to what the city is giving in terms of incentives for people to build hotels in downtown.
So is there a political feel good about it? Meaning that this is something that we are putting out there because of the increase in rentals, the high cost of living, that this affordable housing is an issue, that's maybe a point for people that they went ahead and did that, when in reality, like you're saying, Alan, though it washes out with the incentives that they're also giving for the hospitality industry.
I think in the hotel side, it doesn't even match up to the incentives that the city is offering to
out.
hotel developers.
So it may cause other sectors to basically be impacted.
Definitely. Residential, condominiums, and anything in the retail sector, office sector, which are not getting any of the incentives that the hotel developers get.
Yeah. Very good.
Interesting.
Very
So I
good.
take it you don't really like it.
You know, I'm ambiguous about it right now. I think Alan's absolutely right on target. I think if you factor it in and you look in comparison to other commercial development and what we as hoteliers are getting, it's a blip. It's, I don't like a city council doing something like this, just because I think the public should have more input, and I think that we should have a definite set course on where and how the money is used. You look at, people forget that the city of Los Angeles is far more than just downtown LA, East LA, West LA. It's 3/4, 2/3 of the San Fernando Valley. There's a lot of other areas that are all incorporated within the city. And much like some of the other organizations, they probably should have been broken up in the 70s. The San Fernando Valley should have become its own city back then, but that'll never happen now. It's too intertwined. The tax base and everything else comes into the city and the county is astronomical. I'm just not sure that there were the public debate that I would have liked to have seen.
Well, and I appreciate the fact that there's sort of that resistance to the additional regulation. Totally get that. And the fact that there's no necessarily checks and balances on where the money goes that's supposedly being slotted for that kind of stuff, right? And in the past, Los Angeles County, Orange County, whatever county you may want to look, there's grounds for why we are distrusting of that, right? I want to just ask this question relevant to our hospitality industry because, again, other than on the construction and the sales side of it, we also have people that actually work in the hospitality industry. And in some cases, those people are working at properties where they're commuting from quite a distance. So is this potentially something, and again, I'm with you, I'm kind of ambiguous right now about it, but I don't know how I feel about it, but in principle, could this be something that could benefit by providing more affordable housing in areas
it's done
closer
the right
to
way,
these?
Yeah. If it's done the right way, they're the right backstops to make sure that this goes into affordable housing and not potholes, or redoing the fire hydrant system. It seems like every
So
time I turn on
as
the
always,
news,
the devil
there's-
is in the details.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that it's an issue that you run into anytime you have a very expensive area, whether it's Manhattan,
Absolutely.
downtown San Francisco, Los Angeles. So you have Los Angeles adding thousands, downtown Los Angeles adding thousands of more new hotel rooms.
Right.
And they're talking about maybe being able to add a couple of thousand low-income housing units. There's a huge disparity there. It's an issue that we've had, ever
Well,
since
that's
you've
all
had
this time,
hotels.
right? Yeah.
And it's always going to continue.
Sure.
So I don't know what the solution is. I don't think the solution is putting the money in the city's pockets to have them either build these projects, or in the case of San Diego, which just recently closed on a hotel to house low-income, provide low-income housing, and they're paying over market. They're paying much more for that product
Wow.
than a investor would pay.
Well, and that's why I pointed it out, because there's a certain amount of this that's very timely. I mean, we go through political cycles too, right? And there's an aspect of affordable housing and sort of that kind of high price of rentals or lack of properties for rentals in areas that are single family development, that we seem to be at this crust right now where this is a repetitive issue and topic that's going to happen all the way through, at least to the midterms in 2018. And a lot of people are jockeying to be on the right side of the topic by things like that. So when I saw that, it was interesting. It was I understood kind of what was happening, and my immediate reaction is like, well, wait a minute, no more regulations, and wait, I'm going to give it to you. So and I don't trust that you're going to spend it the right way from previous history. But then I realized that there's more happening here, and that there's some of these topics are actually very cyclical. We're leading up to an election cycle in 2018,
Absolutely.
and this is something that every one of these areas that has people that are looking for affordable housing.
Hey, turn that
See,
off.
people are already calling me to basically whine at me for what I'm saying. But yeah, it could very much be something that we don't even talk about in 2019.
Yeah, but don't get me wrong that I'm against regulation. I just want a public hearing on it. I want the discussion to get deep and hard and heated. Now, okay, the EPA, for instance, okay, I think that's a good organization. I like to be able to breathe. I like to be able to drink our water and things like that. So I think they've done a great job, and I am opposed to them being gutted. But I'm just really questioning whether or not this particular linkage fee is going to do what is promised. And I don't know if there was enough discussion.
But I think that distrust occurs in anything that has additional regulations. I mean, you know, and look, this show is California, right? So one of the main gripes that people have is that we're regulated to death over here, right? That it gets in the way of development, it gets in the way of investment, it gets in the way of all kinds of stuff, right? And we
absolutely.
begrudgingly all basically huff
But
and
we all
puff and
pay that
stay
toll.
here because we want to be in California.
Like the toll road.
You really let's not. I'm not talking toll road. I'm giving toll road a break for the first two shows, and then I'm going to basically hammer them. But no, I mean, it really is an issue, right, in the state of California when it comes to regulations, and the high taxes, and people would argue that yes, maybe the hotel industry is going to benefit from the tax bill that happened, but as a state, we're getting hammered with taxes in a different manner than other states, right? So this is all part of our reality being, welcome to California. This is part of your reality.
Right. Alan, what are you seeing trend-wise in the newer developments that are out there? You've been to the new Intercon. You've seen the other IHG product that opened up in downtown L.A.
The Indigo.
The Indigo, and that's a beautiful hotel.
Yes.
I was fortunate enough to stay there with Glenn Houseman and a bunch of other people. We did that hotel ROI conference last year, so I really got to see a lot of that hotel. And it was set up beautifully. I love the lobby, the grab-and-go right across from the front desk, so there was a lot of economies of scale that worked really nicely there. What are you seeing trend-wise in these newer hotel assets that are opening up?
Well,
and even deep renovated hotels like the Hyatt at LAX, where we'll be for Meet the Money.
So you just mentioned it, grab and go. So we're seeing the slow death of room service in hotels as well as restaurants and hotels. They're going to more of that grab and go. Or if you see here in Orange County at the Irvine Hotel or at the Islands Hotel, it has more of a mini-mart situation. Other trends are micro rooms. So you've got the brands like Moxie with Marriott, where you might have in the past had 200 rooms. They're now going to 330 rooms with much more space in the open spaces, communal areas, less space in the rooms and more space in the lobby areas.
There's more of a social component that's being put in.
Absolutely. You know, our friend Glenn Houseman from No Vacancy posted a interview with the development team and ownership group on the new Moxie in Manhattan. And besides a roof bar with a little pitch and putt on it, they went through all the other restaurants, the F&B components, and everything else. And I got to tell you, next time I'm in New York, I'm staying at that hotel. I got to check this out. So 600
rooms, and even in those rooms, as small as they are, they have bunk beds in there.
Yeah, exactly.
So four or five people per room. Other developments, using your iPhone to open up the door of the hotel as opposed to a key card lock, and robots.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of concern from the unions right now that a lot of people are going to lose their jobs because of automation in the hotel industry. A lot of hotels, you can bypass now the front desk
Right.
and just go straight to your room.
Yeah.
So
You sparked something. You said robots, and people went, robots, question mark. What do the robots do?
the rope,
Bags. They can check you in, any number of things. What do you?
Deliver stuff? I mean,
Yeah,
what-
your
Yes.
room service, all of that.
a little like a little, literally like a little Roomba, a little one of those vacuum cleaners just arrives at your door
I'd
with
say
a.
Well,
between that and
auto-
R2D2.
Yeah,
yeah,
okay?
so it's more like RT. Yeah, something from
Star Wars.
And it shows up and it has your food or your drink or your bathrobes or your extra towels or something. Or?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that they can do. You can another thing that they're getting rid of now is the concierge, where
Right.
you can utilize the robot in terms of information in the local area, so they will deliver stuff.
And it's not that far fetched, right? Alexa,
Yeah, right.
Amazon or Google Home. I mean, there's a lot of automation that's happening in people's houses and has become more accustomed to that. So you go
Right.
stay at a property and you already have that kind of training, or you've self-trained yourself at home, then you adopt to that technology very easily in a hospitality setting, and you don't think that it's strange that there isn't somebody there opening the door for you.
But do you lose the hospitality part?
And we had
of
that
our
conversation
industry,
with Larry
you know,
Brockman
so,
last year.
Yeah. So it's
How do you maintain the corporate culture image we care for you that you talk so much about, Craig? You know, when you walk into a property, they care about you. They take care of you the whole way through. If it's all anonymous, if it's all automated.
I don't think that's ever going to be replaced by automation. I think there's a lot of other sectors that are going to be equally as impacted, if not more so. I also think since the dawn of of the industrial age, every job has a lifespan. Whether it was the old assembly lines or what Henry Ford invented, going from a tube amplifier to solid state. You look at what Tesla's doing, and UPS and Amazon have already ordered the driverless trucks. So are the Teamsters going to be the next one out? In theory, your pilot on American Airlines. Okay, he's basically a bus driver at this point. He's gone. There's a kid with a joystick sitting in a room somewhere flying the plane.
Well, and that
So-
that's all the sort of the romanticized reasoning.
Yeah.
But there's also a nuts and bolts fact reasoning. I mean, there's a bottom line impact, right? I mean, when you talk about there's going to be companies that are going to be reinvesting in the market and stuff like that. Yeah, but that reinvestment may be automation. It may be cost savings. More capacity, less cost. Okay, which translates to
Yeah.
a better bottom line situation, a more competitive market, right? So, Alan, the question to you on this, relevant to this, is this a trend? Is this a fad? Is this something that we are going to, in 5 years or 10 years, go back and go, we went too far on the technology side? What do you think? Is it going to be different depending on the sector in the hospitality industry?
Yeah, I think it's a trend. It's
Yeah.
here to stay. I think labor cost is the highest cost for any hotel operation. So it's always a balance between lowering your cost and increasing or improving the service. So I think that in a business hotel where the guest just wants to get to his room, do his work, or do her work, and get out the next day and move on, I think automation works. If you're going to a resort hotel or in the wine country for a bed and breakfast, then you're spending a lot more time in the hotel or around that area, you're probably looking for a bit more service. And again, I think that this is good for competition because hotels that cater to one kind of service will do very, very well versus a hotel that's perhaps not offering that service but is doing a lower cost. Ultimately, that's the customer's and the consumer's choice.
Well, it always goes back to knowing your market, right? Knowing who your profile end user is, guest, if you will, and what their expectations are. And those expectations are not static; they change.
And on top of that is training.
All right.
absolutely.
Because you can have a lot of employees, but if you've not trained them
Absolutely.
correctly, then it's wasted money.
Or in what we're talking about, retrain them, right? Because you will still need that person to maybe manage that robot, but you may need less of them. but their level of skill level will have to be now increased. So there's a retraining opportunity. There's other things for these people that want to stay in the industry
move them,
to
yeah.
basically be reallocating it as a resource,
Right.
especially if they have that expertise from that is still applicable.
Right.
Right.
Okay,
Paul,
we're going to a commercial, or do you have a question, Paul?
Commercial.
Great.
We'll be
And
right
I'll
back.
bet it's for Click.
Well, find out.
You think?
It could be. Let's listen.
From Eureka to San Diego and Malibu to Bakersfield, the California Lodging Investment Conference, CLIC, is one of a kind, focusing exclusively on our Golden States hotel market. CLIC was launched in 2016 by Craig Sullivan, a seasoned hospitality industry professional, to harness the knowledge of our industry leaders, support our community, and educate emerging talent. CLIC brings together lodging professionals from California and beyond for one day of learning, professional development, and networking. If you are an owner, operator, investor, broker, developer, lender, management company, brand, or professional services provider, you should plan on attending CLIC 2 on March 8, 2018 at the Hilton Irvine Orange County Airport. We invite you to go check out the California Lodging Investment Conference website at cliconference.com for the latest details and sponsorship opportunities. Early registration now open, and as a listener of the Checkout California radio show, please make sure to use our exclusive discount code of CheckoutCA when registering for this one-of-a-kind California hospitality event that sold out in its very first year.
All right. I wish we could tape the off-camera conversations.
No, you can't.
Here. But I asked, and you
We need
guys,
some safe space around.
I asked, and some people
Snowflake.
have asked on Twitter, how far did these trends go? What other futuristic things? Talk about the Star Wars hotel. We're going to have virtual reality in that. You talked about pods. You talked about pop-up hotels. Other really way out concepts. Talk about some of those. How far do we go?
You're going to have a device called a microwave, and you can put food in it, and it'll heat it up. It
In-
won't
in the
cook it,
room?
but it'll heat it up.
Oh, my goodness.
But you'll have to adjust your pattern. You can't put something in metal container in there because that'll be a very short-lived.
Seriously. I want to know about Star Wars Hotel. How far are they going to have virtual reality? Are they going to have things projected, holograms
hold,
in the
hold
hallway?
On, hold on a second. Can I just? Did everybody in this room see the last Star Wars?
I did
Not
not.
yet.
No.
I did not.
You did not.
Not yet.
Yeah, oh, okay. Well, then never mind. I'm going to ask this question later.
Okay,
But,
good.
but if you do go see the last movie, it was great in its attempt to reboot the brand. Okay.
Right.
But I didn't understand why, after how many years has it been? Over 20 years that this franchise has been out there. Why are we still looking at stuff that's the same technology? Like we're looking at technology on Star Wars that isn't even evolving. It's the same technology,
Same stuff.
that's happening. And I found
Lightsabers
that
and,
actually
yeah.
very fascinating. It was almost like somebody showing a Star Trek to me and saying, "Look, here's a transponder," right? And it's exactly the same thing as what
Right.
Kirk used.
Well, to segue into the hotel business,
Yeah.
it's interesting because one of the trends that we're seeing today with hotel construction are modular hotel
Hotels,
rooms,
yeah.
which first came out 30, 40 years ago.
Yep.
Today's modular hotel room is not your parents' modular hotel room
Right.
where you walk into a hotel and you can bounce around on the floor. These are
Yep.
very, very solid, and it's not that they're cheaper construction, it's just that they're quicker to get
Less time,
constructed.
yeah.
So less time. In fact, there's a property in San Jose that all the modular rooms were constructed in Poland.
Mm-hmm.
So figure the cost of shipping those out.
Wow.
And
Well,
then
because
you
because
imagine?
what you're talking about, Alan, those factories, quote unquote, for prefab, right? For the modular, there's not a lot of them out there, right? In fact, we have a shortage given what that trend is. I know for a fact that they were talking about putting one in a huge facility in Saudi Arabia and having it be sort of an export situation. Yeah, and when you say it's not cheaper, well, it's less time.
Yes.
So it may not be the cost of the actual unit, but it's definitely saving you money because you're opening sooner.
You're opening sooner, and you get the stabilization quick.
Well, and you have certain things that are already pre-programmed based on your design that you're not wasting the time to modify on site during construction, right? I
Right.
mean, the stuff is already there.
Right. It's
Yeah.
plug and play for the most
Yeah.
part.
That's another good trend to bring out. That's happening more and more. It's just that the supply isn't there. So that could be an interesting thing. What happens as far as an emerging market or production?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How about pop-up hotels? Somebody wants to know. What's a pop? I don't know what that is.
So pop-up hotels would be, for example, at a music festival, Coachella, that they would also probably known as glamping. although
There you go.
Glamping?
Yeah. Glamorous camping.
yeah, glamorous camping. So they're very. There would be modulars that are mobile hotel rooms, and they're up for a short period of time. Again, usually during the 2 weeks that Coachella is
Exactly.
on.
Do they have to get permits, and don't the local hoteliers get upset about that?
They're sold out. For something like that, they're sold out. And yeah, there's permits and all that, but you know, these are yurts, they're Airstream trailers, there are, you know, a few other things in there that you can get in there. And you know, if you think about it, you've been following all the oil crews coming down into Canada and across the United States. Okay, and they need a place to stay, so it's been the same thing. It's been this pop-up, you know, hotel scenario. So you can, you know, put a series of, you know, let's say 4 to 6 of these together, and that's your front desk and your grab and go and your breakfast bar, and then you can have the standalones that are fully self-contained with a restroom and shower and power and everything else.
And you
So-
follow the festivals.
Pretty sophisticated,
Yeah,
actually,
yeah.
right? I mean, you could pop up a cluster of, you know, a retreat
Yeah.
that has all the amenities that you need for a short duration of time, and basically pay top dollar, and you're not really limited by location. You're actually more flexible on the location. You could actually tie people into, let's say, a program where, you know, every 2-3 months there's a pop-up by that company at an exotic location that you would never get permitted to actually build in,
Yeah.
right? But you would get the glamping ability to do for a
Didn't
10-day
Marriott
period.
do Coachella or Old Cella when they had the Stones and everybody out there?
Don't know. If
I want to say it was Marriott.
Well, and if
they
and
jumped on that for
you know
that.
what, and if
I
they,
don't
and
know.
I wouldn't be surprised at all, because you know the joke the last couple of years on Coachella was that, oh yeah, the Coachella festival, you know, like the grassroots, you know, Woodstock version on the West Coast basically has gone corporate, right? And now you got
Well, yeah.
sponsorships and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, it's just the natural order of things. Things evolve in that manner. There's value, there's profitability, there's attraction, there's an interesting experience. Boom, of course, you'd be
Yeah.
stupid if you're not going to get into that
Well,
market.
who in this room other than Paul wants to sleep in a sleeping bag on the ground? Okay, I know.
In a pair of cargo shirts.
Yeah,
in a
exactly.
pair of car- Oh my God! Yeah, he's got long.
I got
No,
long
no,
pants.
it's
It's
winter.
cold
He
out.
has got long pants on.
How about somebody else want to know about your other crazy one that you asked? What do you call them? Pods? These like morgue slabs that you at the airports you just slide yourself in like you're in a mortuary and.
Well, they're a stacked unit, and they started out in
Like sleep-
in
like sleep-
Tokyo,
like sleeping
as I
pods,
recall.
yeah.
Correct.
And it's just a sleeping pod. You know, pay your $2, and you get in there for X amount of hours, and it's a place to lay down and sleep, and you know, maybe read a book if you
Can't
want
be
to.
claustrophobic because you
Oh,
slide
yeah,
yourself
yeah,
into these things.
Exactly, you do slide yourself in.
Well,
Now,
and don't knock it, right? I mean, the one of the growing services that is being sold by spas and wellness centers across the world is silence.
Yeah, you pay for
Okay,
silence.
I'm going to walk in, and now my question always is: do you actually argue and haggle on the price of silence or not? You know,
What's
is it
silence
just like,
worth
it's like
these
you walk in
days?
and you go, "I want silence," and then they give you the price, and you go, you know, okay. But all seriousness, that is a service that people are paying for. So in a world where we live, where you're supposed to get 6 hours of minimum sleep, 7 is the healthier, and it has a direct impact on your. We just had a show, Parkinson's, you know, dementia, all this stuff, healthy sleeping. Okay, if you're not getting your sleep and you can't get back home, right? A sleeping pod.
I haven't had healthy sleep in decades.
Yeah,
What
but
about you?
but it's a total different story. Why? Okay, and we don't have enough time on this show to get into it, right? You'd have to listen to the show from Christmas, then you'll get a sense of why. But you know, these things are actually a very interesting service offering for people that are in need for that. And then we were just talking when we were off the air that when you think about a sleeping pod, think about first class. And you know
Exactly.
how much do people pay for those things on like Etihad Airlines or Emirates or
Yeah.
there was one that I just saw that I believe was it Malaysian Airlines?
Yeah.
I think somebody sent it to me. That thing looks ridiculous. It's
Yeah.
like a suite in a small tight compartment area.
Exactly.
Now, if you're European or you live in New York, you're already used to that space anyway, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And there's thousands and hundreds of like 20,000, 30,000.
But is
whatever
that
it
still the hotel industry? Is that what is that?
It's
Marriott?
all hospitality,
is
right?
that-
it's part of it,
It's all
absolutely.
service. It's all care.
Well, just
all
think of someone.
sleeping.
Just think of someone like
I'll even
Marriott,
sing you a
Hilton, or
lullaby. How's
Hyatt
that?
comes in and they get the rights to every international airport in the United States to put these pods in.
Right.
Okay. It's not a whole lot of real estate. Okay,
Cost control.
cost controlled. You know, you've got staff, cleaning staff
Self-service.
already at
Boom.
the airports. You know, if I'm traveling from Tokyo to Los Angeles, and then I've got to switch planes and go to London, and I've got a 3 to 4 hour gap. Yeah, I want a pod. I don't want to leave the airport.
Yeah, you don't want to
You know,
curl up on a chair somewhere.
So,
Exactly.
Paul, if I asked you if you had the ability to go to a lounge at an airport, okay, you got a connecting flight. You know, you're flying overseas. You cross the pond. You got to follow up. You got about maybe 3-4 hours, whatever, and you have access to the lounge.
I want to thank American Express for that access, by the way.
You wouldn't even, excuse me, you wouldn't even question the fact that you'd go enjoy the lounge, right?
No, exactly.
Okay, so you've had your free drink. You even, if you're, I mean, I've done it myself. You've had a shower. You know, you might even have a steam room, whatever, right?
Massage.
And you've got yourself a couple of hours before your flight connection, right? And the only place for you to sleep is in the friggin' armchair
Yeah.
in the lounge, right? If there was actually a pod,
Yeah,
there would be no question about it.
yeah.
A hole in the wall.
It's a short-term stay,
Yeah, you do it in a
basically.
heartbeat.
Right.
So is that a trend or is that a fad? Did it come and go?
I don't know. I think it's been.
I don't think it's
around
ever
in one
gone
form.
away.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it was adversely impacted after 9/11, just because of security concerns.
None of us slept.
Yeah. So you know, I think Tokyo, Heathrow, a few of the others that
Charles
have
de Gaulle in
these,
Paris.
they've found it to work out very well, and I would say it's either going to be LAX or Kennedy that starts that first in this country, and then it moves across the country at that
So in
point.
Toledo, they'll have pods so you can sleep for 2 hours or something? or-
If you're going to Toledo, I guess. I don't know. Not to offend anybody from Toledo, but,
Or
you know.
Detroit.
You
or
kind of
whatever.
did, but
You know, yeah, I kind of did, sort of. Alan, what hotels are moving quicker right now in the state of California? Select service, boutique, or
Good
full
question.
service?
Still select service.
Okay.
And one of the main reasons that we've seen this uptick in transactions is a lot of people are selling out of apartments in California. They're trading at record prices, very low return on capital, and they're finding that they can move out of apartments and buy hotels for twice the return that they were getting in apartments.
Wow.
So for those kind of owners, it is select service. They're not going to jump from an apartment building into a full service. And it, again, is deals that are $15 million and below, comprises of about 70% of
Set
the
of the
market.
market, yeah. Now,
is it a step for those owners? Is it an introduction, if you will, from the apartment to the? I mean, what have you seen in your?
Yeah, it's
years?
it's definitely an introduction.
Is it an entry hospitality property?
Yeah, it's typically entry. You know, limited service, Holiday Inn Express, Travelodge, Ramada. These are what we
Days
call
Inn,
the
all of
economy
those.
or budget brands, mid-price brands. But I think that they're realizing it's a lot more management intensive than just managing an apartment building.
Right.
and the other part of that equation is that, if this is a first-time owner and they have to put debt on the property and they've got a brand involved, neither one of them is going to allow them to manage it. They're going to have to bring in a management group because they've
Which
just
makes
got
for an
no-
opportunity for that expertise to be rechanneled, right?
Right.
But it also, if
Gives them an
you're an owner,
opportunity
if you're
to learn.
right, if you're a
Yeah.
smart owner, you actually would welcome that because you're out of your element.
You're out of your
At
element.
least as
the
far as a learning
employees are
curve.
not yours. You don't have to deal with the
Right.
HR issues, and there's a lot of upside with that. But if you're going to come in there, and Alan, please correct me if I'm wrong. And I think you're seeing more and more of this. We've seen more fresh blood in the marketplace, and they are taking advantage of management companies and listening to professional service providers such as yourself and your team and the lenders that, hey, here's our checklist. Sit down with somebody, engage with them, and they will help you through this. And whether it's a Broughton Hotels and Interstate Hotels or Brighton, any number of hotel companies that in RAR down in San Diego, our buddy Bob Roush, the hotel guru. You can bring them in and they can coach you and help you through the franchise agreement and everything else. But I think a lot of it starts with Alan and his team and getting people to go, hey, look I've got a Brinks truck full of money or two, and I want to find something. Can you help me? And what is the process? What are some of the hurdles that we're going to come across? Because I don't think you're finding a lot of people out there educating the new investors on it. And hence, that's part of the reason for having the California Lodging Investment Conference.
So this may be a good point to ask the question, Alan. So you've been on this for 21 years.
Actually, 30 years.
30 years.
21 years.
21 years
yeah.
as Atlas, right?
Yeah.
But so has that investor profile changed? Is it whether it be age? I mean, we talked about sources of funding and where it happens to come in, and it tends to change. You know, we had that whole Japanese money influx in California, and now we got the Chinese money coming in, all this stuff, and that's driven by a whole range of different things, right? But has that investor profile changed? Has the person who's interested in getting into hospitality now changed from what it was maybe like 10 years ago, 20 years ago? Was it institutional versus individual versus groups? What are you seeing?
I wouldn't say it's changed. It's maybe morphed a little bit, but it's the starter hotels are all entrepreneurs, hardworking. 30 years ago, this was the first generation of Asian Indian hotel owners. So now we have second and third generation. We have a lot of Korean investors that have come into the hotel business, Vietnamese, obviously Chinese. We saw a lot of Japanese in the late 80s, early 90s, but they've now. And they were pretty much focused on trophy hotels.
Right.
But when we talk about the limited service, these are homegrown entrepreneurs who it's extremely hardworking, and it's the same profile that was 20 or 30 years ago. Probably more sophisticated, more tech savvy today.
Well, like you said, if it's the second generation or so forth that's still involved in that, then they have the experience base already in.
Correct.
Right. And it tends to be like sort of a family, but they're working in it. They're involved in it. It's very much them versus just a portfolio element, basically.
Yes.
Somebody wanted to know what's the average price of one of these select service today. What are they talking about?
And we're talking in the California market.
Yeah. So an average price on a per room basis is around $100,000 per room. So for a 50-room hotel, that would be $5 million. 100-room hotel around $10 million.
Very good.
Okay.
Now, not giving away any trade secrets.
No?
What are you doing to inspire your team and to get new clients? You and I have been dealing with a lot of the same people for 20, 25 years, some cases longer. But we are seeing some morphing. We are seeing some different entrepreneurs, some different tech people, a few others coming into the market. What are you doing to get out there to add to your client
It's a very good question. I mean, you've been doing this at Atlas at 21. How do you? Yeah, that's
they,
great.
They come to him. He doesn't look.
Well,
They just-
actually,
I do, let me tell you.
I think it's a little different 21 years on because, 21 years ago, no one had heard of Atlas Hospitality Group. So we got a lot of business through referrals, through bank clients that we have. Your earlier question, why do they come to Atlas? We're really a very specialized company. We specialize exclusively in California. We've done this for 21 years. I would probably say we have better data and information than any other company out there just because we've got 10 or 12 guys collecting that information for the last 20 plus years.
Yeah.
So it's almost like going to a doctor.
Yeah.
Do you want to go to a heart surgeon that's done 2,500 heart surgeries, or do you want to go to a
General
heart surgeon
practitioner,
that's his first
gig,
practice?
Right.
So from that standpoint, if they're looking for experience,
Yeah.
they're looking for knowledge, they're looking for someone with hopefully a very good reputation, that's where we get the business. But we
And
also,
longevity with your firm as well.
and longevity. But we spend a lot of money on research and data and tracking those owners that are in exchanges, 1031 exchanges, which obviously was one of the good things for us that did not get cut by the tax changes, because that's a huge amount of acquisitions are made through 1031 exchanges, tax-deferred exchanges.
Does everybody know what that is? Do you want to explain that real quickly?
So yeah, 1031 tax-deferred exchange is when you sell a property, you're allowed to purchase another property within 180 days and not pay any taxes.
On the gain.
The taxes are deferred.
Yeah.
So if you sell a hotel for $5 million and you go and buy another hotel for $7 or $8 million and you close that hotel within 6-month time frame, your money is basically in a separate third-party account, and you don't pay any taxes. Whereas if you sold a hotel and didn't use the benefits of a 1031 exchange, you're going to pay taxes, capital gains, as well as state tax of around 35 to 40%. So it's a huge savings.
But doesn't that beg the question that you really got to know what you're doing? Because if you fail to close within that window, the benefit goes away, right?
Yes, but if you just sold anyway, you're going to pay that tax.
Right.
So you can put this money with what they call an accommodator, and you have to select up to 3 properties in 45 days, and then you have to close on at least one of those within 180 days. If you don't, you pay the taxes, but you were going to pay those anyway.
Anyway,
See,
right.
and that's where you get an advisor or an advisory group such as Alan
That really knows the market.
You know, they can put all the pieces together and help you assemble your team for a hotel investment. And you know, when I was doing title and escrow services, it was the same thing. You know, I'd sit down and go through the title report, talk to Alan or his people, and see what was going on. You know, we closed on every deal that we opened, every one. It may not have been in 60 or 90 days like we wanted, but if it fell out, we didn't cancel everything because we knew Alan and his team would have another buyer, and we'd be back in escrow shortly. So, and we closed all of our deals in California on time. You know, there were some that we struggled with, no doubt about it, because you never know what a county recorder is going to do. But you know, we closed every one of our deals on time. So,
Is California harder to close in than other states?
in some instances it is. In others, such as not having the county recorder digitized, it's much more difficult to get the documents recorded and confirmation done. So you have to do a stopgap endorsement to the policy, and escrow calls it closed at a certain date and time, and you move forward from there.
Well, Alan, how do you guys get compensated for your services?
It is commission only. So if we
Does
He
it close?
does this for
if
the
it doesn't
love
close,
of
we
it.
don't get paid, and that's another important point.
Yeah.
We probably end up saying no to more deals than we say yes to, because we've got to be convinced that we can sell it at the price that the seller
Right.
needs to get, and more importantly, we were able to get it financed. And if we're not, then you know, the one saying with our company is you make money on the deals you say no to, not the deals you say yes
Yeah,
to,
yeah, absolutely.
because you can waste a lot of time, effort, and energy.
Well,
Well,
nobody wants to waste
ahead.
time or energy. So, how many clients do you have in the seller position that have now gotten emotional about their asset, and they feel that it's worth $15 million,
More than what you're telling them?
and realistically, it's only worth 10 to 12?
Well,
And what's that conversation
That's
like?
the main reason I focused on hotels and commercial real estate, because
If you didn't have the emotional
you don't
attachment.
you have emotion, but you don't have it like you have in a residential
Right,
component.
right.
So you're dealing with businessmen, and it's numbers.
Yeah.
So someone may love their hotel, but at the end of the day, it is how much profit does this hotel make?
Right.
And that's what I have to take to a new investor and sell them on. Now, an owner might say, but he can do better than me. Well, maybe they can, but that's their upside.
Right.
So you can't expect to sell your property as if it's doing $1 million in net income when it's only doing 500,000.
Thousands.
The
So-
numbers are the numbers are the numbers.
Numbers
Yeah.
don't lie.
Yeah,
That's
they
it.
don't. Let's talk about the disgruntled atmosphere out there right now on resort fees and urban destination charges, which are basically the same thing.
And define those just so everybody knows what they are.
You know, a resort fee is a fee that you pay up and above and beyond what your room rate is. Now, you know, it started out as being for the full service destination resorts, but all of a sudden it ended up at every hotel around Disneyland and in Orlando and various, you know, Universal Studios.
So
and
you're
then
paying for the room, but then you're also paying for the access to everything. That's
all
on
the
on
amenities,
property,
the
yeah.
spa, the pool,
Whether
know,
you use it or
business
not,
center,
that's your
all
daily.
types
That's
of
your
things.
daily. It's almost you'd argue like, you know, if you park your car, like there would be a daily
And there is
charge, right?
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
it's- right.
Yeah, And now with most hotels not running their own parking lots anymore, that charge has gone up as well. But that's a different.
I'm just explaining it
different
for
scenario.
Paul, who basically has his own glamping thing. That's
And-
how he
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just-
and because you can't really call like a 500-room downtown Los Angeles hotel
A
a resort,
right.
that is an urban destination charge. So what
it's
are you
a charge
hearing?
to go to that urban destination. Is that what you're saying? To go to Los Angeles,
No,
you
no,
gotta
it's
pay
it's,
this?
it's elevating the property to a level by label to where you can charge an additional fee.
Yeah.
And it's a separate line item on your
Yeah.
customer's
Yeah.
bill.
Yeah.
There was $200 a night or $300 a night for the hotel and something for the.
$25 a night for the urban destination charge, yeah. And then you've got transit occupancy tax, then you've got this, and then you've got state sales tax, and you've got a few other things.
And people
But-
pay this?
Yeah, they do. Well, he goes glamping. Okay? He's at the beach. He pays
Well,
$12.
but guys,
so-
let me ask this for the people that are listening. Right, when we say resort, right,
Yeah.
in the industry, that means that there's certain amenities that are part of the offering on that.
whether it's La
property,
Costa or Terranea, and that's
Okay,
what
but
pops
he-
into your head.
right? Alan,
The whole point of staying at a resort is because you're paying for those resort
Exactly.
facilities,
Right.
whether it's a beach, the pool, or whatever. The issue in this industry is that, as Paul asked, and they charge that and they can
Yeah.
get away with it.
Yeah.
Why do they charge it? Because hotels can get away with it.
Right.
The urban fees was initiated in Manhattan. So if you wanted to stay at a hotel in Manhattan, not only were you paying $300, $400, $500 per night, plus around 20% taxes, that's another $100.
Yeah.
Then the hotel was charging you $25 to $30 on top of that. What was included? That
Zip.
included free Wi-Fi, maybe a newspaper, and maybe a drink. And if you were to say to the hotel, "But I don't want any of that," you don't have the choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
'Cause-
that's the issue.
So
that we
you're
have.
paying to walk out to Times Square. You're paying for the proximity to the urban surroundings.
There-
Yes.
there-
Correct.
The reason I was asking that question, Ellen,
Crazy.
is because I really have a problem with when we talk about resort. To your point, there's the beach. There's something there that elevates that property as being a destination, and now we're putting the word destination on an urban setting that basically doesn't have that matrix of offerings, and that's what's getting under my skin. Is
Okay,
like,
but why do they get away with it? Because not enough people complain, and enough people are paying that amount. So hotels will say, "Look, we've lost out on revenue from telephone. No one uses the telephone anymore. If you remember, 30
Right.
years ago, you would get on the telephone and you could end up
$6
having a $100
charge, yeah.
charge.
Renting movies.
Renting a movie has
yeah.
gone away.
Yeah.
So they're looking at anywhere that they can just, recoup that. Over 1,600 hotels throughout the United States now charge anything from an urban fee to a resort fee.
Wow.
And unlike the baggage fees that you have with airlines, you have no choice. Baggage fee, you could say, okay, I'm going to take a
I'm gonna
carry-on,
carry on.
and I'm not, or else I'm going to wear three sets of clothes and get on the plane. But you don't, and it is why it is being challenged now, I think, at 47 states.
Yeah.
And attorney generals saying, look, we have an issue with this because the fee that you see when you go on Expedia or TripAdvisor will be the room rate, and then in the small type will be how much you're paying for the resort fee. So it makes it very confusing for the consumer, and I think that people are saying, look, if you're going to charge it, you need to put it into the actual room rate.
Yeah,
and,
just raise the rate.
and
But
be
doesn't
transparent.
that makes it interesting? I have to just throw this in because I go on Expedia if I do go and in those places, and you immediately find the cheapest room. And you're saying though that when I go there, it's going to be a bait and switch kind of feeling I'm going to have.
There's
where-
additional charges. That
Oh
are
my
the small
goodness! I
print.
thought it was 80. I got it for $80, but there's another $80 in resort fees or
Now,
destination.
now, part of that is also to make up for the lost revenue with the OTAs.
Well,
nobody will admit that,
yeah.
but
That's what I was saying.
It is.
OTAs being what these
Online travel agencies,
Right,
and,
yeah.
and the hotel is paying anywhere from 15 to 20% commission to
Wow.
them.
So
on
I'm going
any of those.
let me ask a question about the elephant in the room here. What is the benefit of that? How much of that fee actually goes to the property, and how much of it actually goes to the municipality? Is this in a way a tax and not
no,
just
it's not
a fee?
a tax.
It's a way of getting around. It doesn't. The municipalities don't get any
Any of it,
transient
yeah.
occupancy tax on that. It's just on the room rate.
So this goes directly to the actual property,
Yeah.
or the operator.
So, for example, it was widely known in Napa and Sonoma counties that you could go to a hotel and let's say you're paying $500 per night, and you've got complimentary breakfast. But they would break that down as $400 for the room and $100 for
the
breakfast,
breakfast.
because they're then just paying the transient occupancy tax
On
the
the
400.
So
not
it's a
on the
way to
$50.
avoid paying the municipality. It's a way to make up for what they're discounting for these online travel agencies. It's a way to make you think you get room for one thing, but then they make it back, and it's a way to make up for all these lost revenue sources.
And then I throw in a couple of robots in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's the most profitable segment of the hotel.
Right. Well, yeah, of course.
Doesn't
it
that
is.
tarnish
There's no
the brand, though? Aren't I pissed off when I show up and I think you guys just...
But you still paid it.
I paid it, but will I come back again?
Well,
I guess I will if they all are doing it.
that's the
That's the point.
That's the thing.
And
yeah.
if you look at Las Vegas today, and now the hotels are now charging for parking.
Yep.
Yeah.
They never did, right? It
Yep.
was just
Yeah.
anything
Yep.
we could do to get a customer or a gambler into that hotel.
Right.
That's right.
And it's amazing that they all decided to do it at the same time.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah. No collusion
Okay,
there.
I had a problem with it, but I paid it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have no choice.
Yeah. When you're,
Where are you going to park on the strip?
Let's take another quick break because I know you're going to do a little longer session today here and play another time for that commercial. I didn't hear the whole commercial the first time here. I was talking too much. I want to make sure I hear it this time. Here.
Okay.
So we'll be back right after word from our sponsor, which is...
Click.
All right.
From Eureka to San Diego and Malibu to Bakersfield, the California Lodging Investment Conference, CLIC, is one of a kind, focusing exclusively on our Golden States hotel market. CLIC was launched in 2016 by Craig Sullivan, a seasoned hospitality industry professional, to harness the knowledge of our industry leaders, support our community, and educate emerging talent. CLIC brings together lodging professionals from California and beyond for one day of learning, professional development, and networking. If you are an owner, operator, investor, broker, developer, lender, management company, brand, or professional services provider, you should plan on attending CLIC 2 on March 8th, 2018 at the Hilton Irvine Orange County Airport. We invite you to go check out the California Lodging Investment Conference website at cliconference.com for the latest details and sponsorship opportunities. Early registration now open, and as a listener of the Checkout California radio show, please make sure to use our exclusive discount code of CheckoutCA when registering for this one-of-a-kind California hospitality event that sold out in its very first year.
All right, we're back after a second bite at the apple there, a second take on that commercial. When is the conference coming up? Let's just remind
It's going to be on March 8th at the Hilton Irvine Orange County Airport.
And do you talk about all these things? I haven't been to the first one. What happens during? Give me a quick 30 seconds.
You know,
Are we
it's
allowing him in this year?
Yeah, we're going to allow him in. Yeah,
just
we're
in the
gonna
back.
kind of sort of have a remote
in the
going for the show
glamping-
as
in the
well.
glamping
The
warehouse.
area.
No, I'm setting it up to let people know that we're going to have a remote of the
Oh,
show.
yes, of course. There
Hello.
you go.
Okay.
So, last year we launched the California Lodging Investment Conference. Alan Reay was the second person I talked to about the conference after Larry Broughton. And Alan said, I'll give you a check. I can't help you, but I'll give you a check. And I said, yeah, but I want you to talk. He said, oh, yeah, I'll do that. So Alan is our sole keynote speaker this year. So he's going over the entire California hotel market. Sales, trends, development, where we're at, where we're going to a large degree. Alan has always been one of my barometers to follow for the investment cycle and where we're at, where we're going, and when I should change my strategies. It's a one-day event. Everything is in one room. We've got 4 panels, hotel investment and due diligence. We've got renovations, PIPs, construction, oh my. That's going to be an interesting topic, and that was because of our...
Whoa, what was that? Say that one again?
It was
What's the topic?
construction, renovations, and PIPs, oh my.
Oh, my.
And a PIP is a property improvement plan that the brand makes you execute every 5 years, let's say. And that was a direct result of our audience feedback from last year's. We had 2 lending panels. We're down to 1 this year, and we replaced it with this panel. Then we've got the overview of the California hotel market, which Alan has his keynote, so it only makes sense that he does double duty and he's on that panel at the end of the day.
Can I ask a tough question?
Yeah.
For people in the hotel industry, why aren't you forcing them to stay in a hotel overnight? You're doing it all in one day.
Yeah, we're doing it all in one day. That way they can take all this great knowledge that they're getting from Alan and Bob and Larry and Robert Lowe at East West Bank and all the other lenders and third-party professionals that are involved with this. And they go back to their office the next day. It hasn't cost them an arm and a leg. They are not behind the 8 ball on their workload, and they can implement some of the ideas that have come to them in that one-day event. And there's really the pillars with this conference it's one day, it's great information, it's affordable for the sponsors and exhibitors, and
Conveniently
affordable
located.
for the attendees. The being conveniently located was just dumb luck. But the more I thought about it, and that was really what swayed me to have the conference over at the Hilton, was our brethren and sisterin from Northern California can fly in and be in Orange County at 8 a.m. and they can fly back after the after party and sleep in their own bed and be in their office the next day.
Amazing.
To your point, Paul, though, some people did stay at the
I
hotel.
did, and I live here.
He
so.
lives there. So he had a short commute, but I mean, we go to a lot of these conferences, right? I think the trend for those who are serial conference goers is exactly this kind of conference because the after party and the networking and all this stuff, we're kind of doing it on a daily basis all the time with people, especially if you're in a localized market. And so there's a lot of time wasted, a lot of energy wasted, and I just want to get in, get my stuff, get the information, meet with the people, shake their hand, get on the plane, get back, and start implementing.
And the second day is always a waste anyway. You wake up, and the exhibits are open for a couple hours, and something in the morning, and you feel like, why am I here the second day? You know?
I mean, I'm seeing a drop in attendance on a lot of these conferences that are multiple day, and it's across the board.
Yeah, and they're not getting any cheaper to attend. So
no, they're getting more expensive.
We were able to hold our prices and our sponsorship and exhibitor fees the same. We didn't have a bump at all, so that was good.
Even though Alan raised his speaking fee, I heard he's charging a lot more for the
He's
keynote,
a personal friend.
Oh,
so,
okay, all right.
So
we waived that fee.
So
and we actually have Ray Gantos.
Oh,
Ray, who's Ray?
Well,
you changed my name.
Yeah, I did. You changed mine on Glenn Houseman's show to Craig Wise. So Rad Gantos is actually.
I actually gave you an adjective.
Yeah, you
okay.
did.
I called you a wise man, Solomon.
a wise guy or a wise man, right?
Well, I think it's
he
wise
cut me off.
with
We didn't
three
get it out.
letters, and it's a body part or an animal. So.
but thank you for that lead in, right? No, we're going to be doing. I'm going to be moderating. Greg was kind enough to ask me to moderate the panel on the renovation and the PIP property improvement projects. And we keep talking about hospitality and the market and especially in established destinations or areas that are really hot right now. And a lot of these properties that are the older properties that are just getting a real resurgence, that are in like sweet locations, and they kind of got hit a little hard, especially some of the larger ones that had really a lot of overhead and costs in running them. And now they're seeing a real resurgence, but the problem is that A, the economy, B, the change of ownership, whatever, they all need facelifts. They all need to be brought into more current and desirable, kind of service offerings, be it food and beverage, be it the lounge social component. They were never built 20 years ago to have those elements in them or those spaces in them. And so we are actually having a lot of fun doing that, because you're going into an established situation, it has a lot of legacy and heritage. You're reinventing and repositioning it, right? In many cases, it has an established market presence within those neighborhoods. In some cases, they have memberships that have been, a decade of memberships. And it's a really fascinating sector of the industry, I think, in being able to do that, especially if you happen to live nearby.
Yeah.
Because then that local flavor, that reflection of what's currently happening in that area, the legacy, the connectivity, the importance in the market, in that community as a social gathering place. It's almost like old school. Like you're taking these properties and you're making them even more relevant as a social gathering.
Somebody
Absolutely.
tweeted and give us an example.
Well, I'll give you an example on the bad side. Has anybody stayed at the Los Angeles Biltmore in the past 10, 20 years?
I stayed there 20 years ago.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's
30 years
it's a
ago.
historic property,
Beautiful property.
and it's irrelevant. It hasn't been updated in at least 20 to 30 years.
And
I
you're
don't
talking
know-
about the downtown Biltmore. Yeah.
and I don't know how many rooms are actually viable to be rented at night anymore. They used to have a beautiful restaurant on the ground floor,
Yeah.
and now it's used for nothing more than to film television
Right.
shows and commercials.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Which-
When I was
which-
there, they had just redone it. This is actually more than probably in the late 80s, early
Yeah,
90s.
that was
They-
probably the last time. And It
Yeah.
was Japanese
With
owned then,
the-
and they
the-
put some money
the
in.
irony of
and he
what-
lost it.
The irony of which is this is in the same area, stone's throw away from all this other stuff we're talking about.
The Indigo.
LA,
is-
LA
which is
Checkers
right.
is across the street, which is a beautiful hotel, Hilton Hotel.
So that's property's gone down after they haven't been able to
Yeah.
keep that revitalization going.
An example of a property, there's a lot of talk about hotels' exterior corridors. So these are motels where you drive up to the door and go in from there. Most of the major brands will not put their name on a hotel if it is an exterior corridor hotel.
Okay.
And a lot of the brands kick them out. So an example of one would be in Solvang, the
Yeah.
town famous in the movie Sideways.
Yep.
And it's called the Hadston House Hotel, which is a property that exterior corridor. They talked about you needed to scrape it and build a brand new interior corridor hotel, but the owner went in and renovated that hotel, did a phenomenal job, and it's one of the top performers
Yes.
in that market.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Another famous group called Valencia Hotel Group
Yep.
actually built an exterior corridor motor hotel. So they're going the other way. So as Rad said, this is a resurgence. A lot of these older motels that people were basically going down the chain, lowest denominator in terms of clients, a lot
Yeah.
of problems, a lot of problems for cities in terms of crime and things like that. But-
Hookers and other things. Yeah. right.
and now people are revitalizing them, putting money into them, and doing a
Be a
great
motel.
job.
You know what's fascinating about this, Ellen, is those are properties, like you said, that were basically the red-headed stepchild of the industry. Nobody really wanted to touch them, especially if it was an established brand, right? And yet, those people that are doing that, I didn't know about the building it from scratch to look at that, but that makes perfect sense to me. You've got emotional capital, you've got nostalgic capital, you've got experience-based capital, and here's the kicker. On that same small footprint, if I basically combine rooms and have higher-end offerings for whether it is, like where it's millennials that are couch surfing and it's more of a kind of like a condo feel or what have you, that aspect of it actually makes for a more boutique, right? As long as I can make the rest of the experience pencil out, and I'm going into established neighborhoods like I'm down in San Clemente. There's a whole bunch of them on El Camino Real. You wouldn't ever get a chance to build 2-3 stories on that thing, but that's a property right there in a destination city that basically you could make a mint on. You just got to get your head in a different mindset in terms of a business.
And
plan.
you know where I'm seeing this is
But
in
I
Palm-
love the
Palm
fact that they're actually
Springs.
building
Right,
it from
yeah.
scratch. Palm Springs is another one with their mid-century modern.
Yeah. I've seen a number of these old rundown
Fascinating.
hotels be revived and turned into hip, cool places.
the Orbit Inn and various others in Palm
Exactly.
Springs. Alan's got a listing on one in West LA.
West LA, the Azul
Yeah.
Inn, which is on Santa Monica Boulevard, right opposite the Mormon Tabernacle,
yep,
or
yep.
Mormon Temple.
Yes.
And that, to me, is the closest thing that you have to a monopoly because
Right.
no one is
Exactly.
going to build,
Uh-huh.
and no one can afford to build that product. You're walking distance to Century City. You're a mile from the Waldorf Astoria, which
Yeah.
was built at a cost of $1.2 million per room. So these are very, very desirable. You can put a lot of money into them and still charge rates well below the more expensive hotels.
Well, yeah, but you're still offering a unique situation for the right person. I mean, and you don't need a lot of them to fill capacity.
So
right?
it's
You just need-
nostalgic. It's boutique.
It's
It's
perfect
small.
for you, actually.
Well, let's call it a motique.
A motique.
A motique, I like
I
that.
might go there.
Yeah.
I think we should. I'll run that. I'll
But
chair that
I'll,
panel.
I'll share. I'll share another one that's a larger property. You said a bad example.
But we'll have a resort fee for you.
I'll share.
Oh,
I'll
oh,
share
come
one.
on.
I'll give a plug to a client actually. Okay, and it's the old St. Regis down in Dana Point.
Yeah.
Okay, we were brought in. It changed hand. Okay, I think it was 2014 or something of that nature, right? It changed hands. They put money into it. They revamped the public areas. They changed the food and beverage, the main restaurant downstairs. KSL did, right? And it's their business model is to take underperforming properties and do that. They did the same thing with the Omni Group with the La Costa. Actually, fascinating story. They sold that thing twice, I think, right? It's fascinating, right? But again, it was a learning for me.
That's why it's in our DNA.
It is in our DNA. I was waiting for it. It's like you're actually past the hour, right? Okay.
I know. I had to.
It's all right. It's the beginning of the year. I'll let it go. But the thing with them is their business model, and it was a learning for me, right? I'm going in there. We were brought in because there are certain areas. The spa specifically is where we got in. That was our entry point. We were recommended. They were putting in a Marivel spa in there, which is the first one out of Arizona that is not in Arizona. They were trying to figure out their brand, and it was all kind of confusing. And so they had like a desert theme and a beach town. But to be fair, right, okay, this is growing pains. Everybody goes through this, right? That's why it's really important to have people that can think outside the box in your team when you're doing that. Otherwise, you're spending money, wasting time. The thing about it is they spent all this money, but they didn't spend money on the locker rooms. Now, here's where it became an issue. You had membership from all those affluent communities around them that had been going to the St. Regis and using the amenities at the pool and all this stuff and so forth. And anybody who knows, if you go to a spa and it's like a gym, right? In that capacity as a member, you're spending a lot of time in those locker rooms, in the steam and the sauna and the jacuzzi, and you've been going there for 10 years or 5 years, and you saw everything around it change except the place that you basically go and basically are your most vulnerable in a robe, right? It feels kind of a little bit odd, like you basically got shafted a little bit, right? Yeah. So we went in and we remodeled the locker rooms for the spa, and I appreciate the opportunity. I want to give a plug to them at Monarch and Ian Poland as the general manager there, and Marcus and Daniel, and then we started looking at other areas and the stairwell and so forth. And it's actually exciting because this is an established property. Okay, I've been in San Clemente since '87. This property got built in the '90s. I think it was California Pacific Homes or Macarician maybe that originally did it. Yeah, you got. I mean, it's sort of like when you talk about Ternea, right? You got the links, and you got the beach club on the sand, and you got this big, huge monster property, and it's huge for South County, right? It's almost overscaled for the market.
Exactly.
Here we are now, where we have like a little Starbucks component kind of equivalent. You got the social lounge, the 33 North that has an outside patio. Michael Mina's Stonehill Tavern, we actually literally pulled a permit to help, and we didn't design it, but we're helping facilitate the construction. It's on a fast track for 4 weeks to put in a bourbon steak, which is the newer concept for Michael, at Monarch Beach, right? So they're reinventing and repositioning this property, and it's getting back into the system, and it is being embraced, by the community around it, and it's drawing on other people, and we actually have, rumor has it, it's on the market. Right, and rumor has it that it's on the market for a substantial higher number than what they bought it for.
Build it up and flip it.
Right, but my learning point was this, okay, is that every single situation is different. Here's a client that's motivated by that, by improving it and flipping it. So for me to come in there and basically propose things that will last 10 and 20 years in terms of finishes, that wasn't the point for them. The point for them was current, immediate, applicable return on investment that we can then turn around and put this property on the market. So it's a fascinating to be part of the hospital. I mean, we're all in this because you're constantly learning. Even after over 15 years of being involved, this was a client that had different set of needs, had guests that had different expectations, and we had to provide that.
Well, and that's exactly it. It's every hotel is different. At the end of the day, I don't care if it's a Hampton Inn or a Courtyard, if it's a St. Regis or a JW.
Right, just because it's flagged under the same doesn't mean...
if it's Terranea or, the Montage. Knowing your market, knowing your clientele, and in a lot of cases, being that third, fourth, or fifth bedroom during the holiday season where, okay, your sister and her husband and their 3 kids are coming into town, and your brother's coming into town, and it's just him and his wife. Who's staying at the house? Who's going to the hotel? Right. Okay,
and who's sleeping in the backyard?
Nobody's sleeping in the backyard, Paul. No camping.
Come on.
But the point, and you touched on it as well, is that it is critical.
Yeah.
in this very competitive, it's not getting any less competitive, right?
No.
The costs are not getting any lower, that it's super critical to be talking to somebody like an expert in their market with the legacy and the time on the ground, like Alan and Atlas Hospitality, because it is beneficial for you in everything, including the success of your transaction. Whether it is you're buying to hold, whether you're buying to flip, whatever it is, you got to talk to the right people. Otherwise, loss of time, loss of money, loss of opportunity.
Absolutely.
And go on, so on and so on.
Well, we have a loss of time facing us here. We wanted to give Alan a little extra time today because he was kind enough to be the first guest on the show. We had a bunch of technical glitches that cut back the video and screwed it all up. We said we got to get him back in here and give him a little extra bonus time for putting up with it.
You can say I'm sorry.
I got a thank you list I need to go through too, Paul.
Yes.
So
before you do that, though, I get to ask one prerogative here.
Okay.
Since we gave him some extra time, you all dodged the question. Tell me what the new Star Wars hotel will look like. Will there literally be holograms in the hallway?
Yes, there will.
And robots.
And robots.
There's
And
Robots and
people
costumes.
dressed up, wandering, sort of
When you're in the
acting
hotel,
out.
there will be no windows. It'll all be an Ultra HD screen, so it's going to appear that you are in outer space on a space yacht.
And
or
people,
yacht.
you'll come around the corner and people will be fighting a battle in somewhere, or
Could
they'll
be.
be doing some.
Could be.
There'll be play acting throughout
Stormtroopers.
the whole hotel.
It actually is being planned right now.
I know.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's glamping. It's out in Las Vegas, and it's Mike Tyson's new place.
Yeah, right. Mike
Seriously,
Tyson's new place
Mike Tyson is doing a glamping with marijuana.
up
There we
in
go.
California
out in-
City. I
in
just
Vegas.
read it.
But there is a plan. I don't know if it will come to fruition for I think it's 1,000-room hotel out in Indio based on the moon.
Based
Wow.
on the moon in India?
In Indio.
Yeah.
Oh my God! So the sky is the limit. Who knows what
It
will
is.
happen?
So since
Yeah.
you opened the door on the Star Wars thing,
Yeah.
Paul, okay, I hear that you can dress up as a character when you go into the hotel. Like
Yeah.
you could actually
You're
get all
supposed to
fitted
be in
out and you're
costume,
being
yeah.
costume, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm putting you on the spot. What character would you be?
In the Star Wars trilogy, I'm definitely not going to be. Who was that one that everybody hated that they
Jar
came
Jar
back?
Binks?
Yeah, right, that one. I couldn't remember that guy's goofy name here. You know, I was a
No,
fanatic.
seriously.
I was a fanatic when it came out, and I think I'm reflective of everybody in the room. I have no desire to go see Star Wars anymore. I don't know that was.
You
I'm too old
talked
for it.
about us dodging the question. I think you're dodging
Yeah,
the
he's
question
dodging
pretty
When
well.
I was Star Wars came out when I was in high school. In
He's still
college.
dodging.
And I absorbed it, and then it went away, and my interest in Star Wars went away. So I don't have a deep connection to it. I don't feel
Your
the-
grandson says.
I think Oliver should be the emperor.
Oh, the Emperor, yes. So I guess I'm saying I don't know enough. I don't remember the trilogy.
Hi,
that much.
Oliver.
I'm probably more invested in still in the Star Trek stuff. Than
Okay,
the Star
but
Wars
your
stuff.
your
there you
grandson
go.
wants to go and stay at the Star Wars hotel. What character are you going to be?
Obi-
You're not dodging this one.
He's going to be Obi-Wan.
Obi-
Obi-Wan. See, I knew
I
you
am-
were going to go there too.
I am your father.
Okay.
I am your father, Rod.
So was Oliver the top broker in your firm for last year again?
Yes, he was.
That's 20
20 years in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Congratulations,
Oliver
He's
Shaw. He is a closing machine. That one, he really is. So, anyhow, before we get out of here this afternoon,
Anything else, Alan, that you'd like to
anything
share
you want to
before we close?
plug? Any listings or any closings?
No,
you wanna?
I just would like to give a shout out to Craig because putting on a conference, a hotel conference, is extremely difficult. For Craig to have done that, a phenomenal job. Everybody I talked to said
Thank
it was
you.
a huge success. I know the amount of work that goes into it, and for Craig to pull that off on the first go around
Yeah, right.
is incredible. And the format to just be that one day, huge success.
One day, one room.
Everybody loved it. So
Thank you,
great
Alan.
job, Craig.
We'll
Looking
talk,
forward to this
talk
year's.
about knowing your clients, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, knowing all of us that basically were like, I don't want to do 3 days anymore, and I don't want to go halfway across the country to do it.
And we're all focused on
Kudos,
California,
really.
and we didn't
Yeah.
have a
Yeah, kudos.
California-focused conference.
Every
So-
conference you go to, you always have downtime.
Right.
You're going, gosh, this is, I don't want to listen to this speaker, or this isn't very informative. That never happened at Craig's
Thank you.
conference.
Thank you.
And we
Good
look forward to another year. Congratulations, Greg. Yeah, no.
Thank you.
And this year,
Thank you, Alan. That
out
was
in the
very
parking
important
lot,
to
we'll be
mention.
doing a glamping seminar We'll be
We'll have a
putting
food
out.
truck out there too.
We'll have a food truck, and we'll put some sleeping bags out. You can come out and talk
It
to us.
is a growing
There you
trend,
go.
so that's probably going to be
You'll be there. You're probably
You're
right.
laughing,
No,
yeah.
No, that is going
So,
to happen.
so if anybody who's interested, because it did sell out too last year,
Yeah.
right? So let's give out the website for the click.
It is cliconference.com. And if you're a listener of Checkout California, we do have a discount code for you, so you can save 20%.
Promo code,
And that is Checkout CA. So please register today. I think
It will sell out.
Yeah, we're hoping. We're hoping. I'm knocking on wood.
Oh, it will.
You know, we had 232 attendees last year, and we did sell out.
And you didn't have OB1 sitting in the parking lot.
No,
right,
we
exactly.
didn't have
Now you're gonna have
Obi-Wan out.
Obi-Wan
We didn't have the
sitting in
glamping seminar. We could talk about pods, hotel pods, and everything.
all
right?
kinds of stuff. But it's 1 day, 1 room, so you don't have to make that decision to see this panel and miss another one. There'll be plenty of time for networking. We do have a after party. We actually raffled off well in excess of $15,000 worth of door prizes, anything from 2-night stays to gift certificates to certificates for professional services.
And we will have a remote Checkout California show.
And I think Glenn Hausman's going to
Yeah,
also
Glenn
be
Hausman's gonna
doing
be
No
there.
Vacancy from there
Right.
as well.
So
So, Alan, it's always a pleasure to be in the same room with you. You always leave me with more nuggets than I can deal with, so my brain will be spinning all night. Thank you for that, my friend, and thank you for your friendship and your help for all of the years. I want to thank all of our listeners and viewers. I know Kathleen Huntsman, you need to get back to your escrow desk. You're at home sick. I've already talked to you today, and thank you for taking care of my transactions. I appreciate that. Also, Glenn Hausman, thank you for including Checkout California on your website, so you
Yes.
can also pick up our shows there. Glenn is also moderating our opening panel and a sponsor for the California Lodging Investment Conference. I want to thank Park West General Contractors for their continued support and sponsorship as well. They're also a sponsor of the show. Thank you, Ed and Chris, and the rest of the team. Nancy Nguyen should be watching. And Nancy and I turned in our applications to be part of Crew OC. Stacy Steeman is the now president.
Yep, and we had her on
this
the show.
organization is amazing, Alan. You should get one of your guys to go. It's not just for women, it's for all of us. And
Be part of the crew.
let them become part of the crew, and maybe they can pick up some new clientele for your company. So, Stacy, thank you, and I appreciate your email yesterday on that.
Well,
And,
and a thank you to everybody who was our guests and let us
Last
kind of
year, yeah.
learn
Yeah.
a little bit and get the
Yeah.
training wheels off. First 6 months of last year,
Yeah.
it was really an amazing
fun.
experience. Started off with Alan.
Happy New Year, and thank
Thank
you, my
you,
friend.
Alan.
Happy New Year.
Happy
Happy
New Year.
Thank you, Alan.
We look
Appreciate it.
forward to having
Paul, thank you very
thank
much.
you, Paul, for manning the board.
Bye, everybody.
We will see you again on the third
Thank
Wednesday.
you for being
Third
our
Wednesday.
guest today on Checkout California. We look forward to having you as a guest with us again in 2 weeks. Until then, you can always reach us through our Checkout California Facebook page or by emailing us at checkoutcalifornia@gmail.com. We love hearing from you. So do let us know what you think of the show and what areas of interest you'd like to see us cover in the future. Your feedback is very important to us as we continue to bring you the best hospitality our Golden State has to offer. Until next time, may all your days be filled with sunsets and palm trees. Now, go experience and check out California.